Due to circumstances beyond my control, we have returned for another exciting edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 24th day of January, is that right? 2024, according to my calculations, it's the day after Tuesday, but the day before Thursday. That makes it Wednesday. As sung by Grammy Award winner Taylor Swift, available to download on iTunes and Spotify. The unmistakable theme to Winning Wednesday, we're back at it again. Special prize today, dinner and a show. First of all, $50 gift card from our friends at the Crepe House at the Victorian Village. This has been a very popular gift. 50 bucks worth of crepes. I'm no expert, but that's a lot of super skinny pancakes. And to sweeten the pot a little bit, and to pardon the pun, I got 4 tickets to An Inspector Calls, which is the Music Theater of Wenatchee's traditional January play. It's playing right now. In fact, I think opening night is tomorrow night at the Riverside Playhouse. These tickets, first of all, you get 4 of them. So it's you and 3 friends, or you and 2 friends and 1 enemy. I don't care who you bring. And it's for the show on Saturday, February 3rd. Saturday, February 3rd, 7:30. 4 tickets, compliments of us. We went out and bought them to see An Inspector Calls. By the way, our very own Casey Stafford is in the play. It's a pretty good play, too. So 4 tickets to the February 3rd, 7:30 in the evening showing of An Inspector Calls at the Riverside Playhouse, and a $50 gift card to the Crepe House. Winner at ncwlife.com. Winner at ncwlife.com. Yes, how you have to enter. It's email only. 1 entry per email address. You know the rules. If you have more than 1 email address, you can enter more than once. You just can't enter over and 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 over again on the same email address. We keep track of these things. Employees of Soleil Broadcasting, Local Telecommunications, and their immediate families are not eligible. Sorry, Jasmine, who will soon be an employee of Local Telecommunications. Send in your emails. Winner at ncwlife.com. 4 tickets to the February 3rd edition of An Inspector Calls. Good play, talented thespians at the Riverside Playhouse. And we'll throw in $50 with the crepes from the Crepe House. Snowing lightly, 33 degrees. Snow will change into rain, and it's going to be a wet Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, you might want to build an ark. Going to get a lot of rain. Mild temperatures too. Forecast details are coming up in news. A lot of news. Our very own Jordan was at last night's rather heated Wenatchee School Board meeting. You know what's going on with Columbia Elementary School. Our cameras were there. We'll have that story as well. Sports, high school results from yesterday. Kraken. They're playing tonight, as is the Wenatchee Wild. We'll preview that as well. Back half the program, Jefferson Robbins had a fascinating interview that you don't want to miss. His name is Derek Sheffield. He's an instructor, and an instructor, not the only one. He's an instructor at Wenatchee Valley College. He's also a poet, and he's a good one. And he participated in the writing of the Cascadia Field Guide, which just won an award. A very prestigious award. Jefferson and Derek had a great interview. You don't want to miss that. We'll have that for you at the back half of the program. We wasted enough time. It's 3 minutes. Let's go. Cameras around the valley. The Heights camera is usable today. Wasn't yesterday. It was fogged over and clouded over at this time. As you can see, it is snowing lightly here in the Wenatchee Valley. It's cooled down a little bit. We were at 34 degrees for a little while. Now we're down to 33. The snow is going to switch over to rain, by the way. But the weather story all this week is active, very active weather. Wet, mild, with some snow in the Cascades. The Omi Garden camera turned right around, facing the other direction, looks something like that. Doesn't look quite as foggy from that angle, even though that's at about the same elevation as the Heights camera. It's just pointed the other way. We can see the Stimilk complex and all the fruit warehouses and businesses that call the old station area home. Rock Island looks something like that. Wow, that looks a lot better than it did just a few minutes ago. Once again, the Rock Island Golf Course is not open. You can't play golf in the snow. Well, you can, but it's not very fun. Traffic on Highway 28 seems to be running rather smoothly. And let's see if the monitor camera has anything to show for us. Well, that's not bad. High above the monitor area. In fact, you can see the Monitor Hilton, I believe, from there, and the Monitor Dome, and the Monitor Convention Center, and all that good stuff in beautiful Monitor. We are, by the way, the #1 rated local television show in the Monitor area. A lot of people don't know that. 2 slides to show for you. If you head into the Cascades, you're going to get a little snow. 4 to 6 inches of snow on Stevens, not so much in the Wenatchee Valley. A little bit here, whatever snow we're getting, it's coming down right now. It ain't going to last. It's going to be gone Johnson. We'll see highs in the mid-30s today. We hit 35 yesterday. It's about where we're going to be today. Roads are getting a little gloppy and a little sloppy, but certainly much more passable than they have been over the weekend. And yeah, for you folks out of the Columbia Basin, here we go again. It was so foggy in Waterville yesterday, the fog was freezing to the roadways, and they didn't have school. Now, to our knowledge, school is back on in Waterville today, but if you're driving out of the Columbia Basin, visibility is very much an issue. It's never fun to not see where you're going when you're driving. From the National Weather Service, here you go. Here's your forecast. Did I mention it's going to rain today? Snow now, switches over to rain. Snow level is right now at about 1,800 feet. It's going to jump up to close to 3,000 feet by the time we get to the afternoon, and a high of 35. 31 for the overnight low tonight. Going to be dry tonight. System number 2 comes in on Thursday night. So we're going to be dry Thursday, just a little bit of light rain with the high of 36. Again, the snow level 2,500 feet. Dry Thursday night, 32 for the overnight low. We're going to have fog develop each and every night, by the way, into the early morning hours. Then here comes system number 2. Rain Friday afternoon, rain Friday night, rain Saturday night. Rain Sunday. Snow level is going to be closer to 5,000 feet by the weekend. To the mid-40s we go to close out the week. So a little bit of light snow in the mountain passes for the next couple of days, and then they're going to get rain too, and we're going to have a lot of rain today and then Friday night, and basically consistent rain from Friday late afternoon all the way into Monday and Tuesday. I feel like we all moved to Gig Harbor and nobody told us. 7 minutes after the hour, when the news, we got the news, and it's coming your way next. You're watching a Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Come see how very different you will feel in your Bullfrog Spa.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
Kind of a rain-snow mix. It's 33 degrees. It'll be all rain by the time we get to this afternoon. Pretty wet day today. We dry out. Clouds aren't going to go anywhere, but no real rain in the forecast tonight, Thursday, most of Friday, and then starting Friday afternoon, as you just heard, pretty much right through the weekend. It's going to be rainy and it's going to be warm. It's 9 minutes after the hour. Wenatchee School District parents, teachers, and staff filled, and I mean filled, the boardroom last night. At the Wenatchee School Board meeting, the Wenatchee School Board was due to give a detailed financial report and share their reasoning behind the closure of Columbia Elementary School. That would begin in the next school year. A lot took to the podium to share their disapproval of the news. They asked questions of the board. They shared testimony of the school's successes. Before the public comments began, Superintendent Corey Callahor gave a presentation as to why Columbia was selected for closure.
There's been a large decline in student enrollment. We have a list there that goes back with our graph from 15 to 16 and then more recent decline. Currently, there are 9 classrooms not being used for grade level courses. A lack of projected growth in the boundary, low birth rates, which kind of plague our entire area, and then a central location of a neighborhood served that allows transportation of students to other locations. There's the small overall school enrollment allows for absorption in nearby schools and open classrooms and spaces that are existing currently. And Columbia is the second smallest school by 11 students, about a 314 head count.
Kelleher went on to say there are a lot of steps involved, including a 90-day period that begins on February 13th that is required before the board makes a final decision on the future of Columbia Elementary School. We're staying with elementary schools. 5th and 6th grade students at Lee Elementary School are all taught in portables, every one of them. According to the Eastmont School District's facilities dashboard, Lee's 2 oldest portables were built in 1989. That makes them 35 years old. At Kenroy Elementary School, there's no stove to cook on because the kitchen doesn't have a proper exhaust vent. These are just some of the issues at those 2 schools, which are named in the Eastmont School Construction Bond. Our own Jordan Gonzalez got a tour of both Lee and Kenroy and learned a lot about the conditions of those buildings.
At Lee Elementary School, it isn't uncommon to see portable units try and heat or cool an entire room. Dennis Cornwell, a Lee Elementary teacher and our tour guide, told us the HVAC systems inside the school are so old, they can't find parts for them anymore. Last week, the cold temperatures were putting stress on the systems.
This room right here, we came in and there was a really strong smell of smoke and that, and so we went and checked it out. And again, it's just this cold weather, these old systems trying to keep up with it, but we had 2 classrooms that smelled not the best. We had to relocate one to another room for a while, while we aired everything out, and we brought the people in and they, did their best to get them up and working the best they could to make kids comfortable, because that's a big thing here at school is, we have to provide them a safe, warm place to be, because if you're not safe and warm, you don't do a lot of learning.
Cornwell works with students who have sensory issues, and his old classroom offered them a quiet space where they could go to decompress. His new room, which he was still moving into, was once a stage area.
If you want to take a kid, who is sensitive to noise and that, doesn't work as well. We've got our gym over here and our music rooms next door. So any given day you might have drums playing in here, and music playing over there, and that's just kind of how it is. And we can do certain things, with the lighting and that, we usually turn that lighting on, turn the stage lighting on. We can, decrease that sensory input. We can, in the other place it was pretty quiet anyway, but we do have earphones and stuff that they can put on. The bilingual room was considered to go up here, but they have to be able to, hear words and accents and, with pronunciations, and just with the different amounts of noise, it just wasn't going to be doable for them. Like the kids couldn't hear in that. So we kind of bit the bullet and came up here and kind of let them use the other one just so, they could have that room for academic time.
Kenroy Elementary School, like Cascade, was built in a series of buildings, and each classroom has an exterior door that leads to the outside. During our tour of Kenroy with Assistant Principal Aaron Coyle, a fire drill was called, and Coyle, who wanted to demonstrate an exterior door for our camera, was unable to get into the classroom she was trying to unlock.
Yes, we are having a fire drill right now. Okay. So. Okay, go out that door. Okay. I have to go handle the fire drill right now. Okay. Yeah.
The drill, which sent students outside into freezing temperatures, was called due to a burst pipe in another part of the building. A school official told NCW Life it was a fire suppression line that caused no damage.
Outside, and you were trying to unlock the door.
Yeah.
What was the situation there? You just couldn't access it, or is it just never accessible?
Door, no, the door is usually, I don't know, it froze. It was, I don't know, the doors for some reason wasn't opening. So she evacuated a different way.
But the kids were trying to get out that door for the fire drill.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jordan was also given a tour of Cascade Elementary School and Rock Island Elementary School. That report is coming up soon. A dramatic school bus crash. You probably saw this. This got a lot of social media attention. This happened on Monday afternoon in Grant County. 13 students and a driver involved. The Waldock School District bus was southbound about 7 miles southeast of Mattawa when it was struck in her side by a Dodge Dakota pickup, which failed to halt for a stop sign. The Grand County Sheriff's Office says 13 of the 17 students on board were transported to Cadillac Medical Center in Richland for non-life-threatening injuries. The bus driver uninjured. The driver of the pickup, 48-year-old Jose Ramirez of Mattawa, was treated for serious injuries. Authorities say poor visibility and the thick fog may have contributed to that crash. State appeals judges plan to hear an appeal from a Wenatchee woman who was convicted of intentionally striking a man on foot with her car. Kelly Diane Gleason was convicted by a Chelan County jury of vehicular assault for striking a 74-year-old man in the Walmart parking lot back in 2021 after the two got into an argument over a fender bender. The man suffered a broken pelvis in the accident. Gleason said her foot accidentally slipped from the brake and the collision was an accident. Her appeal argues that a vehicular assault conviction requires rash or heedless behavior behind the wheel, and that wasn't proven at trial. The Court of Appeals in Spokane will take up the case on Friday. 12th District State Legislator Keith Gaynor, he wants to help pay for rescues in our area. Representative Gaynor has a bill pending in the House that would create the Backcountry Search and Rescue Grant Program, which would underwrite mountain rescue teams and allow cities and counties to recover some of the costs of rescuing people who get caught and have to be rescued by the Washington Military Department. Gaynor introduced House Bill 2257 in a House committee hearing on Friday.
If you have a local county that has a helicopter that they're extracting an individual with, that's a significant impact to a budget. So what we're trying to do is just provide the opportunity for counties, cities, and volunteer organizations to recoup some of the expenses that they incur in providing a very much needed service.
And an update on Initiative 2109. Of course, the state Supreme Court said you can do it. The United States Supreme Court said it's okay. Well, the voters may have a chance to do so. Initiative 2109 certified to the legislature yesterday. That's one of several initiatives put forward by a collection of conservative groups to roll back recent changes to state law. The capital gains tax is applied to profits greater than $250,000 from sales of stocks and bonds, and they're earmarked for education and school construction. A Douglas County lawsuit brought by wealthy plaintiffs failed to nullify the tax unless the legislature adopts it. I-2109 will appear in ballots at the November general election. And that is the news at 17 minutes after the hour. If you want to be informed about what the heck's going on, we will fill the bill. The news tonight at 5, 6, and 10, the NCW Life Evening News, 5, 6, and 10 on television. It'll be up and running on our YouTube page, our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, and on our app. And if you haven't downloaded our app yet, what the heck's the matter with you? It's pretty simple. Pick up your smartphone and point it at that thing, our QR code, and you will have the app. And if you have a news tip, you get a hold of us by sending us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Not a lot of sports to get to, but what there is, we'll do it next. You're watching a Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local because we're just like you, members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
Check out clubcrowcashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
"19 minutes after the hour, the Seattle Kraken will try and snap a 4-game losing streak. They're at home tonight. The Chicago Blackhawks pay them a visit at Climate Pledge Arena. 3 of Seattle's best players have been out of action, but Vince Dunn practiced yesterday. He's expected to see action tonight. Dunn and Coach Dave Haxtell addressed the media after they practiced.
Yeah, it felt great. It's nice to see moving bodies at a full speed. I thought a lot of the drills today I was able to get touches in and get back into some game-like situations. So it was nice to be out there with the guys and have some laughs and just throw the puck around with them. It's good to be back.
Really liked what our guys did against Toronto. I loved our effort. So it's a game that we finish one more play, and you know, we got a real chance to win that hockey game. So that's really what it comes back to. I mean, you just reset each day, and whoever is in has to go out and work and do the job, and you know, work to put ourselves in a position to win a hockey game. So as disappointing as it was to walk away and lose that game, you know, after a step away from it for 12 hours, 24 hours, you know, I give the guys a lot of credit. Their effort was outstanding.
If you have a 4-game losing streak you want to end, you want to play the Blackhawks. They are tied with San Jose for the worst record in the entire NHL. They'll drop the puck at 7 o'clock. You can watch it on TNT. Men's college basketball, both the Cougars and the Huskies are at home tonight. The Utes will be in Pullman to take on the Cougars. It'll be at 7 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. On ESPNU at 8 o'clock, it's the Huskies in Colorado at Alaska Airlines Arena at Heck Evanston Pavilion. Prep basketball scores, league action from last night. They're getting towards the end of the regular season, folks. Chelan girls all over Cascade 47-14. It was OMAC demolishing Quincy. Okanagan defeated Lake Roosevelt in girls basketball. Tenasket over Brewster. Manson over Orville by 22. And Liberty Bell, no problems with Bridgeport. On the boys' side of the equation, Chelan completes the sweep at Cascade. The boys 55, Cascade 17. OMAC over Quincy 56-49. Lake Roosevelt, by the way, the Lake Roosevelt boys have not lost a game this year. They're undefeated. They're ranked number 1, and they beat Okanagan last night. Brewster over Tenasket, Manson over Orville, and Liberty Bell defeated Bridgeport. There are a few games today in Big 9 action. Moses Lake will be at Davis. It's a girls-boys doubleheader. The girls tip off at 5:30. The boys 90 minutes after that. And Othello at Ellensburg. Again, in a doubleheader, the girls tip off at 5 and the boys at 6:30. And finally, the Wenatchee Wild have a home date tonight. Tri-City Americans at the Town Toyota Center. Wenatchee leads the series so far this season, but most of the games with the Americans have been one-goal affairs, and Austin Drades thinks that tonight's going to be a close one, too.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be a close game again. Tri-City's been kind of on the ropes here of late, trying to get their footing back going into the new year, but I think everybody's going to have at least one good stretch during the new year here in the U.S. division, and Tri-City's hoping to start that stretch against us on Wednesday night, try to bring in a big crowd to shut it down.
Puck drops at 6 o'clock tonight, and then on Friday night, the Thunderbirds will be in town. Friday night, by the way, is Superhero and Princesses Night at the Town Toyota Center, and those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 24th day of January. By the way, it's Winning Wednesday, folks. Don't forget, I'll give you another reminder. Happy National Peanut Butter Day. Everybody thinks George Washington Carver had something to do with it. Well, he realized that peanuts had any number of applications, but we actually, today's peanut butter, we owe to a chemist by the name of Joseph Rosefield, who about 100 years ago figured out a way to separate the oil from the peanut butter to make it stable and give it a nice long shelf life. Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it. So peanut butter would become stable, would have a long shelf life. 6 years later, he sold his invention to a company. They created Peter Pan peanut butter. And then 4 years later, he said Peter Pan peanut butter stinks. So he came up with his own peanut butter. He called it Skippy. So the guy who came up with the idea of keeping peanut butter stable is also the guy who came up with Skippy. I like Skippy. I like Jif. I like creamy peanut butter. I can't tell the difference between Skippy and Jif. Apparently, some people can. 1 acre of peanuts will yield approximately 30,000 peanut butter sandwiches. The average peanut farm is about 100 acres. Right now, the odds are pretty good that your pantry has a jar of peanut butter. About 75% of all American households have a jar of peanut butter. It's a staple for a lot of people. About 1.5% of all Americans have a peanut allergy. How much do we spend on peanut butter a year in just the United States? About $800 million. And this fun fact about peanut butter: women and children are more likely to enjoy creamy peanut butter. Men are more likely to enjoy chunky peanut butter. I don't like the chunky peanut butter. It gets into your teeth. Happy Peanut Butter Day. Today, 25 minutes after the hour. Today in history, that is Sutter's Mill. Sutter's Mill near Sacramento. On this date in 1848, Jim Marshall said, hey, there's gold. we found ourselves some gold here in Sutter's Mill, and here they come. From 1848 to about 1858, California was overrun with gold prospectors. About 300,000 people headed to the General Sutter's Mill area to find their gold. Some traveled overland, and some went all the way around South America and sailed to San Francisco, but one way or the other get there. A lot of people tried to seek their fortunes. A lot of people didn't. The people who did make fortunes were the people who sold supplies to the prospectors. They made a lot of money. Prospectors themselves, not so much. Gold is found at Sutter's Mill near Sacramento in this state in 1848. On this date in 1963, a B-52 bomber carrying 2 hydrogen bombs crashed. Now, they jettisoned the bombs. They also jettisoned the crew. 2 crew members died. The parachute, one died in the plane. They didn't get out in time. One died because their parachute didn't deploy. The other 5 crew members survived. There were 2 hydrogen bombs on board. One they found intact. 3 of the 4 mechanisms that would have caused the hydrogen bomb to explode had actually been activated. Thank God the 4th one did. That was one of the 2 hydrogen bombs on board of the B-52. The other hydrogen bomb, they never found it. I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere in the swamps of North Carolina, just sitting there. Grab a metal detector. Whew, that was on this date in 1961. 52 years ago today, Soshi Yokoyo came out of the Guam jungles after hiding in there after World War II ended. We captured Guam in 1944. Sergeant Yokio stayed behind in Guam because nobody told him the war was over. And he stayed there until they found him on this date in 1972. He'd been hiding in the jungles since 1972. War's over, buddy. You can come out now. That was 52 years ago today. Quite the media sensation. Happy 40th birthday to the Macintosh. Apple introduces the Macintosh on this date in 1984, the very first successful mass-marketed home computer. It was all-in-one, the first one with a GUI, with a graphical interface, first one with a built-in screen, first one with a mouse. If you wanted to buy this in 1984, go to your local computer store. It would run you $2,495, about $2,500 for a brand new Macintosh, which comes out to about $7,000 today. Here comes the Macintosh 40 years ago today. Super Bowl time. This is the 42nd anniversary of Super Bowl, let me see here, XVI, sometimes called Super Bowl 16. The San Francisco 49ers won their first Super Bowl. They defeated Cincinnati. Very exciting game at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. The final was 26-21. They would win 4 more. The only Super Bowl ever played where the 2 teams who played in the Super Bowl had losing records the year before. Forrest Gregg, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, became the first person ever to play in a Super Bowl and be the head coach in a Super Bowl. This was the very first Super Bowl featuring John Madden as a color commentator. It pulled in a 49.1 share on the Nielsen rating, which is still all-time #1, even though Super Bowls, more people are now watching the Super Bowl. The percentage of people watching the Super Bowl has never been higher than that one. Halftime show of Super Bowl 16. Up with People salutes the 1960s and Motown. Check it out on YouTube. Birthdays. One heavenly birthday. Who's kidding who? John Belushi was not destined to live particularly long, and he did not. The first member of the Not Ready for Primetime Players to pass away, John Belushi, born in the state in 1949. There was a very fascinating Saturday Night Live pre-film skit that they did way back in the 1970s where John Belushi is seen visiting the graves of all of his co-stars from the first 5 years of Saturday Night Live. The ironic part was he was the first one to go. John Belushi, born in the state in 1949, and Neil Diamond, whose real name is Neil Diamond. He's 83 years old today, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, class of 2011. He had Kennedy Center honors. He's got a bunch of awards. He's doing good. Life's good for Neil Diamond. He's 83 years old today. Thanks to Alpine Air for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. They're platinum sponsors here on the NCW Life channel. Alpine Air for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. It's Winning Wednesday. We're doubling it up today, folks. Not only are we going to give you free food, going to give you a play, too. $50 gift card from the Crepe House. $50 gift card from the Crepe House at the Victorian Village. They have a drive-through window. They have a really cool website. You can call in advance, order your crepes, pick them up at the drive-through window. $50 gift card and 4 tickets to the Saturday, February 3rd showing of An Inspector Calls at the Riverside Playhouse from Music Theater of Wenatchee. So 4 tickets to the February 3rd performance of a really cool play that you don't want to miss. Saturday, February 3rd, 4 tickets to that and a $50 gift card to the Crepe House. Food and a show. What else do you want? winner@ncwlife.com. Send me the email, winner@ncwlife.com. Buckle your seatbelts. Mike Magnotti is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
In Digital Media Arts program, we learn about video production gear and editing by the combination of class projects and nonprofit work and employment.
It makes things happen.
Yeah.
It's pretty magical.
We work in the industry at the Wenatchee Round, NCW Live channel, and the Town Toyota Center events. Every day we work with industry standard equipment for a hands-on learning experience.
Hey, hon, would you run this around to the wash rack?
Oh, okay.
Hey, hon, what happened?
They shrunk the truck.
The all-new mid-size Canyon is now available at Sangster Motors.
Ooh, hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, reading through some of my Facebook memories, I found a post about wearing a face mask that I thought was funny, as did some others. But there were also just as many people who were just terribly offended. Now, all right, these reactions made me stop and think about the times I've been offended by something, and I had to admit, often when I experience a strong negative reaction to something and get defensive, it's because there's some core of truth in what I'm being confronted by. So, what I've been trying to practice is this. When I take offense at something, maybe I should stop and think about why I'm reading it or discerning that way and consider whether or not my offense is misplaced or should be further examined. And if I decide my offense is justified, maybe I should just move on. I mean, why let somebody else control or negatively impact my peace of mind? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Snow piles up quickly. Remove it just as quickly with Kubota compact and utility tractors. Rated #1 in durability and owner experience, they're built to take on winter with front and rear mount snow blowers, blades, and rotary sweepers. Get select Kubota tractors for 0 down, 2.99% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying snow attachments. See your local Kubota dealer today.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Your home runs on hot water. From the kitchen, to the bath, to the laundry. So Rheem offers a wide variety of water heaters from traditional models to ones smart enough to tell you how much hot water is available. On second thought, perhaps the laundry can wait.
Jefferson Robbins with NCW Life. When you go out exploring the landscape, it's a good idea to take along a field guide. My guest here today has constructed just such a book, but it's not what you might expect. Cascadia Field Guide came out in 2023 from Mountaineers Books. It looks at landscapes from Alaska to California, from the Olympic Peninsula to Wyoming, through a lens that combines poetry, artwork, and the natural sciences. And for that originality, the book has just won the Pacific Northwest Booksellers Association Award for 2023. Derek Sheffield is a poet and author of a number of poetry collections. He's on the English faculty of Wenatchee Valley College, and he's one of 3 co-editors of Cascadia Field Guide. Derek, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I've wanted to get you in the studio to talk about the book for a while, and the award from Pacific Northwest Booksellers Association seemed like a pretty good excuse. Were you surprised by that?
Well, you know, I suppose so, just because I thought we would have a good shot at it, because as we finished making the book, we realized we'd made something special, something that that doesn't really exist anywhere else. And because of that, and also because of the focus on our bioregion of Cascadia, and the awards is focused on the same region, I thought we might have a good shot. But at the same time, it was still a surprise because, you know, they had about 300 nominations. This is from 6 states, including British Columbia. And so, you know, that said, the odds, you know, I mean, even if something seems like it should happen, you and I both know it doesn't always happen. So, but yeah, we were just over the moon at the news. Yeah.
You mentioned bioregions, and that is something I wanted to talk about. That's how this book is formatted. You're not looking at, you can explore Chelan County and find this. You're looking at bioregions like from the Tidewater Glacier up north in Alaska to the Shrub Steppe, which is our area, to the Montanes and the Willamette Valley, the outer coast. How did you decide on the construction of this particular book?
Well, when I first started working on it, which was about 5 years ago, I was thinking about a literary field guide, an artistic field guide to the Pacific Northwest. But then as I started thinking about it some more, I quickly realized that we needed to make this, and the reason is because the first book, I think maybe 8 years ago, came out. The first book kind of like this was a literary field guide to the Sonoran Desert. And I know the editors of that book, and my friend and editor-in-chief of Terrain.org, Simmons Bunton, was part of that book, and when it came out, he knew me, and he knew me as someone who was as much a poet as a naturalist. And he said, "Hey, Sheffield, you've got to do one of these for the Pacific Northwest." And so I thought, okay, well, yeah, that's a great idea. And then I kind of put it off because I had a sense for how much work it was going to be, you know, like, and it was like 10 times more than I thought it was going to be, as it ended up being. But anyway, as I started thinking about it, I thought, you know, we have this amazing movement here in our region, the Cascadian movement. And so I wanted to tie this book with that sense of identity. There are plenty of people in our region, in fact, who think of themselves as Cascadians and not as Washingtonians, Oregonians, British Columbians, Montanans, and so that was part of it. And then two, we wanted to think about place in terms of the features of the land and the water, not in geopolitical terms, but Cascadia, as we talk about in the book, is really a region defined by a series of interconnected watersheds that exist from Northern California up through Alaska, southwest Alaska. So that's where the bioregional focus came on and came from, and we thought that really fit the nature of this book, and as Liz and then we brought C. Marie on as another editor, as we all started talking about it, we liked how that helped support our approach of acknowledging the animacy of this place.
You mentioned how large the project was, and I think you said also that it was about 5 years in the making from conception to publication. How did you meet and choose your co-editors on this, Elizabeth Bradfield and C. Marie Furman? How did they come on board the project?
Well, I think it was about 6 years ago I started reading Liz Bradfield's work, and I quickly realized that she was just like me in that she was as much, she had a lot of dirt under her nails, and then just as many paper cuts. And I thought, okay, another poet naturalist here, check. I reached out to her. She was immediately enthusiastic about the idea. We started working on it together. And then Liz knew of C. Marie, and together we approached C. Marie, and unfortunately C. Marie joined us, which gave us, the three of us coming together gives us different kinds of diversity, including geographic diversity, because C. Marie lives in McCall, Idaho. I am someone who's made his home here in the shrub steppe and the pine forest for over 20 years, but I grew up in Gig Harbor and in the Willamette Valley, and Liz grew up on the Salish Sea as well. So we liked the kind of different connections to different parts of Cascadia that we were able to bring to the project.
Now, you're a poet and poetry editor by vocation, I think, but did you have other responsibilities on this book? Were you involved in other facets of its selection and construction?
Yeah, the three of us curated, that was a lot of the work. And, as I said, it started, the idea for the book, we started working on it before the pandemic, but then there were hundreds of hours over Zoom during the pandemic, and it was beautiful work to have during that time of isolation, because everything about the Cascadia Field Guide, everything about this project says community, says belonging, says interconnectedness. And so one of the things we did was spend many hours collecting poems for each of the different beings that we had chosen to include in the book. And so we would then sit down and okay, we've got 24 poems for Raven here. We're going to read them all. We're going to take turns reading them aloud, and we're going to find the one poem that we like, that we want to honor Raven in this book. And so, that took a lot of time, and so we curated all those poems. Then we were about 40 poems short, so then we solicited poets in the region, and we helped them edit that work for the book. We found our 14 different artists through a lot of work, all three of us worked together on deciding which artists we wanted to include in the book. And then a lot of the work that we did was, a lot of this book is prose. So we've got visual art, we've got poetry, coming together with prose, and as you noted earlier, this is not the typical kind of field guide, and one of the reasons is because you've got three poet naturalists who are writing what you would call a species account in a standard field guide, but they're what we call them being stories, and we like the term being rather than species, just because it feels more animate.
And I noticed that throughout the book, if you're referring to Raven, you will refer to him as a being, or ravens as a being, or a tree, a ponderosa pine. This being grows here. So I wanted to ask about that choice of word. Where'd that come from?
Well, I think that really goes back. We're influenced there by Robin Wall Kimmerer and her book Braiding Sweetgrass, and the work that she's done and she and others have done to really help us start changing the way we think and talk about being in place. Because if we can change it in language, then man, maybe we can actually start living here in a more sustainable way that isn't going to degrade the living systems that we're a part of, not apart from, but part of. And there's a beautiful quote from Thomas Berry that I kind of paraphrase for Cascadia Field Guide, that everywhere we want this this book to reveal Cascadia as a communion of subjects, not a collection of objects. It's all about subjectification, acknowledging agency. And so Robin Wall Kimmerer has done some important work in Braiding Sweetgrass and other essays that she's written. And in fact, one of the essays that she wrote was for the Dear America book that you and I talked about a few years ago. So yeah, I think we owe her a big debt.
So I wanted to ask about the process of editing anything, really, poetry, art. When you're confronted by two really great pieces, but you only have room for one, how hard is that decision to make? I mean, how many hard decisions did you have to make to get to this book? Lots
of hard decisions, and that's when you're grateful that you've got 3 editors. You've got an odd number, and so there were times when it was 2 to 1. We tried as much as possible to come to a consensus, you know, but yeah, I mean. And one of the things, we wanted a diversity of poetry in here too, and we wanted poems that were more accessible than less accessible. We've all, you know, run into poems that are, you know, like a brick wall and don't seem to have any entrance. But that's not what we were really after. We wanted inviting poems, because really the audience, our ideal audience for this book is not, we're not looking for other poetry professors or biologists necessarily. I mean, those people are welcome, but really we had more general readership in mind. As you say, people headed out into the woods or along the rivers or up in the mountains in this region. You know, maybe you don't do it all the time, but so many of us here appreciate being part of this landscape, and we wanted to give those people the right company to bring along.
Well, Derek, I wanted to sort of give readers and viewers the idea of what the experience is like to read this book. And again, we're here in Wenatchee. We're in the shrub steppe biome, in the shrub steppe region that is defined in the book. Maybe you could read for us the introduction to shrub steppe from a Cascadia Field Guide. Yeah, I would love to do that. Thank you. And as you say, this book is organized in communities, and instead of a traditional field guide that would be organized, we would have the plants here, the birds here, the insects here, all sort of separated. And we wanted to emphasize cohesion over division, and that's when we came upon this idea of deciphering these 13 different communities in our region, and organizing the book that way by choosing anywhere from 8 to 12 beings who live in relationship with one another in that community.
So this gives you an idea of some of the prose that we, three of us together, wrote and edited. We edited for each other these overview statements for each community, and then there is a being story for each being. So, shrub step. Perhaps a light rain has just moved through morning skies. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, smelling the unique mix of wet rock, bunchgrass, dust, lupin, desert parsley, and everywhere the distinctive bites of sagebrush. In this wet light, you can almost feel the pores of stones opening. These moments are especially precious for their rarity. A steppe is a large area of unforested grassland, and Cascadia's shrub steppe receives less than 10 inches of rain during a typical year. But truly, this is a land of contrasts. A 100-degree day is followed by a cold night, and the next afternoon might gush with thunder showers. In summer, the wind blows hot and dusty, while winter's freezing gales swirl with snow. This near desert might appear lifeless and uniform, but as spring arrives, melting snow gives way to an incredible display of wildflowers. Lemon dabs of sagebrush buttercup, pale pinks of prairie star, purples and golds of lupin and balsam root, creamy white to rose of bitterroot, fire orange, globe mallow, and every shade in between, and phlox, wild onion, larkspur, and scarlet gilia. As he shares stories of the time before European settlement, Okanagan tribal member Len Marchand says that grasses were belly high to a horse back then. But in the last 2 centuries, the human impact has been massive. A combination of clearing for agriculture, grazing, overgrazing, human-caused wildfires, motorized recreation, invasive species, and road building for oil, gas, and wind exploration has left only about 40% of this special biome intact. The mostly treeless shrub steppe affords expansive views across rolling hills, flats, and basaltic canyons. Even so, you might hear the clear whistles and flute-like song before you see western meadowlark perched high on a bare and twisting trunk of big sagebrush, bill opening with each liquid note. Listen also for the rustle of grasses as pygmy short-horned lizard crawls in search of ants. And in the night, if you're lucky, you might hear the shrill yips and cries of coyote shivering the air, and remember something you may have almost forgotten about wildness.
And the section goes on to detail some of the beings, as you put it, who reside in the sage steppe. Pygmy rabbit being one, coyote, of course, being another, the vole, the different kinds of sagebrush. So, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a really good way to characterize it. When you were selecting poems, Derek, for this particular work, you didn't just solicit new or accept new. You also looked for some that I think had either been previously published or were out there. And you worked with the estate of Ursula K. Le Guin to archive one poem in this book. Can you read a section of that for us?
Oh, I would love that. Yeah.
And I don't know this poem, so please introduce it.
Sure. So yeah, this is one of the many poems that we found simply by just going through. All three of us have far too many books on our shelves, and there were many pleasurable hours of going back through books. And I know for me in particular, Ursula K. Le Guin is a writer whose work helped form my own sensibility. She's very important to me as a poet and a prose writer and her fantasy. I loved her books when I was a kid growing up, and so Yeah, this was one that we found, and I think I found in one of her books that was on my shelf, and we were so grateful to find existing poems, because it's a fraught prospect to ask someone to make art, and it usually goes okay, but sometimes not always. So this is her poem called Lesser Senses, and if I may, I want to just show you too the artwork that all the artwork in here was made for the book, and this is the art for Big Sagebrush made by Emily Poole, who's this marvelous Cascadian artist from Eugene, Oregon. Lesser Senses. Thinking of beauty as sight, we keep forgetting the warmth of the fire and the brightness of firelight. In the graceful ripples, the grace of water to thirst. Soft as air, the touch of fur on the touching hand is as beautiful, surely, as the curve of the cat's leap. No keener beauty than a dry branch of sagebrush, the harsh, poignant scent bringing the silent desert distances back to the heart.
Lovely, thank you. Derek Sheffield is co-author of the Cascadia Field Guide. You can find more poetry that he's selected at terrain.org, where Derek is the poetry editor. The most recent collection of poems is Not for Luck. And Cascadia Field Guide is available wherever your books are sold, preferably your independent bookstore, which is where I got mine. Derek, thanks a lot for being here.
Hey, thank you, Jefferson. Great to see you, man.
Really appreciate it. You're watching the NCW Life channel.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Imagine a science project being done on the kitchen table. Feel the excitement on Christmas morning as the kids race down the stairs to form memories that cannot be erased. Listen for the laughter coming from the next room. Put your family in a new home to make these visions become reality with Coldwell Banker Cascade. Use the Move Meter entering 2 cities and see how a potential move scores based on the cost of living and other factors. Make your dream place a reality with Coldwell Banker Cascade today.
It is snowing lightly here in the Wenatchee Valley. Other places are getting a little bit more snow. Going to switch over to rain this afternoon, and a really wet weekend. Details are coming up. One more reminder about Winning Wednesday. It's a double prize today. Yes, it's a $50 gift card from the Crep House in Wenatchee, the Victorian Village. Great buzz about this place. And $50 worth of crepes is a lot of crepes, folks. And we're going to sweeten up the pot. We got 4 tickets to An Inspector Calls, Music Theater Wenatchee's annual January play. It's going on at the Riverside Playhouse. I believe opening day is tomorrow. The 4 tickets that is going to go to the winner, in addition to this, the 4 tickets are for Saturday night, February 3rd at the Riverside Playhouse to go watch some very talented thespians put on An Inspector Calls. Snow in the upper elevations is not going to go away if you're traveling into Stevens Pass or I-90 be prepared. You're going to have some winter driving conditions. As you can see now, the snow is coming down. Right here in the valley floor, it's more of a rain-snow mix. But it is going to snow a little bit in the mountain passes. One more look at that slide from the National Weather Service just to let you know what you're in for. And also some dense fog, too. We got that slide ready to go? There. Oh, dense fog. There's your dense fog. Again, it's not very fun to not see where you're driving. Just jump right to the forecast from the National Weather Service. Here we go. 35 today. That's, by the way, what we hit yesterday. Snow this morning, rain, snow mix, and then just plain rain. We dry out this afternoon. Thursday dry, Thursday night dry, Friday dry, Friday night rain. Saturday rain. Saturday night rain. I'm detecting a pattern, warm and wet into the weekend. That's it for us. Have a great Wednesday. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.